He was one of the guardians of the world, not a ruler, a protector. He stood unseen, holding the quiet things that made life worth living. For ages, he kept the balance. But over time, too much silence, too many unseen sacrifices, he began to fade. He lost faith in his purpose. He turned away. Floods rose. Villages crumbled. Forest burned. And with hope gone, a shadow grew inside him. It was sorrow. Left alone too long, it became something heavier. A hunger. A shadow with teeth. Some called it a demon. The spirits saw it happening. He had fought for so long, but no one noticed. So the spirits gathered around him, trying to pour their light into him to awaken what was fading. But it was too late. So instead, they reached into his chest and took his heart. The last untouched spark of who he had been. And when sunlight touched it, his heart became a diamond. The light rose from his body, slow and steady, and vanished into the sky. The diamond rose into the sky, and then it fell back to the earth. From the moment it touched the ground, a village was born. Not built, born from the light. Its people lived with one instinct: protect the diamond. And for generations, that's what they did. But far away, the one who lost the diamond felt its light again. He had no name now, only hunger. He had become a shadow in flesh, and he was coming. The villagers kept the diamond hidden. Generation after generation, they knew it had to be protected. But far beyond their quiet lives, something was searching. The one who had lost the diamond. He had been looking for it ever since. For decades, he wandered through shadows, drawn by the ache of something missing. It was part of him, his heart, and he wanted it back. Not just to feel whole again, but to become what he once was. A guardian. But that time had passed. He knew it. Still, he searched, and he felt it. Somewhere in the forest, just out of reach. One day, the shadow found them. He stepped into the edge of the village, and the villagers froze. Some cried out. Others trembled in silence. They had never seen him, but somehow, they knew who he was. The shadow spoke, not in words, but with a voice that pressed against the wind. "Where is my lost heart?" The villagers trembled. "We don't know," they said. So the shadow gave them a command. Find it. They tried. But the forest had already begun to change. It grew darker, deeper, paths twisted. Light folded in strange ways. The forest was hiding the diamond. And so began the search. Every day for 10,000 years, they wandered. They woke. They searched. They grew weary. And they searched again. The forest watched in silence. If the diamond was ever found, the village would vanish. Not suddenly, but completely. The forest was tired, so were they. But they protected it still. Because the heart of the world must never return to the one who gave it up. It was one of those days. Mishka and I were walking deep in the woods near our home. She stopped, barking again at that same place, the one that always pulled at her. I tried to calm her down, to tell her there was nothing there, but she wouldn't move on. Every time we passed that place, Mishka would stop. She'd turn to me, then back to the trees, drawn to something I couldn't see. It was as if the forest was calling her, and she was trying to say, "Follow me." But what lay ahead wasn't a path. It was a hollow in the earth, hidden deep in the forest, where the light never reached. The air changed there. Thick, heavy. Each breath harder than the last, as if the forest itself was warning me. It felt like a place, meant to stay untouched. But this time, it was different. I was hearing whispers. Not loud, but close. They came in unfamiliar wording, strange and distant. But I could feel them. I could feel the fear. I could feel the pain inside those whispers. And this time, I decided to follow them. It was the moment we stepped into that dark, breathless part of the forest. Mishka didn't move. She just stood there, watching the trees. Still, silent. And in that moment, I knew. We weren't alone. So we made a choice. We didn't run. We stepped forward into the dark, toward the thing no one dares to face. A cold wind blew straight into our faces. Sudden, unnatural. My hair lifted with it, as if something unseen had brushed past. Then we heard it. A voice carried on that wind. Do not come any closer, go back the way you came. But we didn't turn back. Something in me, maybe in both of us, knew we had to keep going. We stepped deeper. The forest closed behind us like a gate. The wind stopped. The sound stopped. Everything held its breath. And then we saw him. Not a beast, not a man, something in between. A shadow that had learned to wear a body. He rose like smoke made solid, tall, shifting, breathing shadows. And still, he didn't move. He was waiting. Mishka stepped forward first, silent, focused. She circled him slowly, not growling, not afraid. Just watching, waiting. I reached for something. A branch, a stone, anything. But the moment my hand closed around it, it changed. It wasn't wood anymore. It was glowing, alive, a sword, meant for this. Mishka leapt forward. Not to attack, but like she knew exactly what needed to be done. She struck him in the center, and everything stopped for a moment. Even the wind. Even the forest. And that's when I saw it. He wasn't trying to destroy us. He was trying to resist something. Something darker than himself. And we weren't here to fight him. We were here to free him. So I stepped forward, and he fought back. Against me. Against Mishka. But we didn't stop. We stayed brave. And then I raised the sword. Not in anger, but in hope. And I drove it into his chest. He didn't scream. He exhaled. Like the forest letting go of its breath. And the light inside him broke free. It rose from his chest. Soft, golden, weightless. He wasn't destroyed. He was released. His form faded. Not in pain, but in peace. And the light flew upward, slow and steady, until it vanished into the sky. I started to hear the whispers again. But this time, they were different. They weren't filled with sorrow. They weren't cries from the shadows. They were singing, software bright, full of joy. And as I listened closer, I realized they weren't just whispers. They were people. They stepped out from between the trees. Villagers, smiling, laughing, alive. Their faces glowed like morning sun. They looked at Mishka and me as if they'd been waiting all along. They came closer, arms open, voices rising like music woven through the leaves. Some hugged Mishka. Others touched her gently, whispering, "You did it." We stayed with them, Mishka and I, for days. There was no time in that forest. Not the kind we knew. Only light, only music. Each day we laughed, played with the children like she'd known them forever.
Oh, the
On the morning we were about to leave, Elendor stepped forward again. His voice was quiet, but steady. "Wait," he said. "The most important part still remains." Everyone grew silent. He turned to Mishka and smiled. For her bravery, her heart, we wish to give a gift. And then they brought it out. From the heart of the forest, hidden away for generations, the diamond. The diamond glowed softly. They placed it in front of us, then gently fastened it around her neck. We said goodbye. They waved and smiled. Their eyes said everything. With all their wishes, Mishka and I continued our journey, walking together to see what the world would show us next.